Did he call on me? Okay. I didn't hear you say my name. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah. Yeah, thank you. Well, Director Grewal, thanks for coming before us today, and I want to follow up on a couple of comments from Mrs. Wagner's questions. In the BNY Mellon enforcement case on greenwashing, can you share with the committee who the experts were that your litigation team consulted with on that case, or did you have any in that particular case?
That's not the investigation I was referencing.
You were talking about the Brazilian dam situation?
That's right.
Yeah, okay. Well, let me turn to BNY Mellon. So the allegation there is they said they had a process by which they determined if companies were eligible to be in an ESG fund, and in your view, they just didn't follow it, so they were misleading. Is that a fair assessment?
That's what they admitted to as well.
Yeah. And so that would tell me that you've got all the authority you need as it relates to protecting investors in the mutual fund ESG arena using simply the power you have now. Is that fair? You can go in and make a judgment if someone's misleading in advertising, or either at the financial advisor level or at the fund sponsor level. Is that fair?
I would agree that the anti-fraud provisions that we have that allow us to bring these cases are adequate. Again, the rulemaking is not my division, but what the rulemaking will help with is putting all those disclosures in a consistent, comparable format that would allow us to more easily further our investigations.
Yeah. So I've been looking at the proposed rule and reflecting on it, on how that might provide clarity if you were then going to pursue, an enforcement case. And so a couple of comments on that topic. Have you read the financial disclosure task force that was chaired by Mark Carney and promoted by Mike Bloomberg? Have you read that 2017 document?
I have not, Representative.
Because in it, it outlines many of the things that I think Chair Gensler and some other members of my colleagues on the other side of the aisle say are very important. And one of those, again, Representative Wagner raised Scope 3 emissions. And Scope 3 emissions is in that proposed rulemaking, is it not?
I believe it is, yes.
Yeah, thank you. So let me read you what the task force says about trying to do this. The gaps in emissions measurement methodologies, including Scope 3 emissions and product life cycle emissions methodologies, make reliable and accurate estimates difficult. The lack of robust, cost-effective tools to quantify the potential impact of climate-related risks and opportunities at the asset or project level makes aggregation across the organization's activities or an investment portfolio problematic and costly. The need to consider the variability of climate-related impacts across and within different sectors and markets further complicates the process and magnifies the cost of assessing potential climate-related financial impacts. And finally, the high degree of uncertainty around the timing and magnitude of climate-related risks makes it difficult to determine and disclose the potential impacts with precision. That is what the Carney-Bloomberg task force says about trying to deal with Scope 3. So how in the world could the SEC have that in a rulemaking?
Again, I would have to refer you to the policymaking division.
Well, we'll do that. But how do you think, as an enforcement officer, you could take that to court? Challenging? Yes or no?
Again, I haven't read the report you're talking about, and I tried to...
Well, just read the proposed rulemaking that your agency's put forward, because it has the same philosophy, that this is a no-brainer and we need to do it to save the planet. So I'm asking you, can you enforce something that's vague, not reliable, not accurate, not timely, not comparable across industries, not comparable within industry, and not agreed upon by the accounting profession, those companies, or your staff? Pretty hard to take a case to court on that. Yes or no?
Again, I haven't looked at the report you're talking about, and I would I will share your concerns with the policymaking divisions. I tried to explain how we go about our enforcement actions.
Well, we're grateful for your enforcement service, and a lot of us on both sides of the aisle share the greenwashing concerns about misleading advertising by the biggest fund companies in the country. And we've studied that. We've heard testimony here about funds that allege are sustainable funds, but they actually look just like an S&P 500 fund but charge a higher fee. Is that what you've seen in some of your research on litigation?
We've seen that type of misrepresentation, certainly in the matter that we talked about today. And again, I can't talk about other investigations that we're looking at into this space, but it's a concern when investors are not getting accurate information about what they're investing in.
Well, we thank you for your service to the people of New Jersey and now the people of the United States. Yield back.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think we all agree with the gentleman from Arkansas that clear standards are helpful. That's why I'm pleased to recognize the gentleman from Connecticut, Mr. Himes, who is the author of the Insider Trading Prohibition Act, which would codify and define insider trading. He is also the chair of the Subcommittee on National Security, International Development, and Monetary Policies. Recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.